What's going on, guys? Sithis here, back at it with another live stream. We are here playing some... Oh. Oh. Hmm.
Sup, King.
What's going on? What's going on, bro? How you doing? Good? Let's play some GTA. Oh, man. What's taking so long?
Eating some shrimp chips and living large. Peace to all.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's good. Enjoy life while you got it. You know what I mean? Feels pretty good. I'm ready to rock and roll.
What is orange and sounds like a parrot?
I don't know. What is Donald Trump?
A carrot.
Oh, haha, gotcha. Interesting.
How can I assist you, sir?
Let's see. Let's boost the acid lab.
Ask away, sir.
Ah, let's go to the acid lab.
Of course, sir.
Fiber internet is nice. I can watch the stream in 1080p on my phone.
Very nice.
Busy.
Very, very nice. I'm in an organization right now. I guess he probably needs help selling or something. Hey, Party Pigeon! My buddy old pal. How you doing?
Yo, KingSithis.
What's going on?
Just mute. Some people, server, they're just stupid. All of them.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you.
Got the religious people in this server, bro. Like, they just, I don't know. Just, they're not all bad, but some of them, they're bad. I can tell the people that can debate and they can't debate. Like that Saint Preacher guy up there. He can't debate.
Yeah. I mean, I know how to debate pretty well. At least I think I do.
Like, yes, 2 days ago, that Saint Preacher guy, like, I cooked him, bro. Like, I mean, like, I wasn't even trying to talk to this guy. I even told him, like, I'm not here to debate you, bro. I'm just listening to, like, background noise. He started doing what most people do, and I'm like, okay. Talking about religion. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but we're gonna do it. When you ask somebody a question and they know they don't want to answer the question,
You should crash
so they
First
start
Amender
like
show.
saying everything except for their question, like the answer. This
First
guy, like, I
Amender?
asked him, so yeah. Well, First Amendment used to be in the server too. I found that out earlier today.
That guy, I literally like left the debate because he was debating me and he did nothing but just interrupt me over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So
Yep.
I literally like just left. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. And normally I don't leave debates. Oh, yeah.
One time I made that guy cry. Like, I saw he was about to cry. He left the channel we were in. Like, I just like crushed this man. Like, oh, yeah. He had like 20 something points. I'm like, okay, 3 of your points are good. The rest of this stuff is insane, man. I forget, one of the points was saying that, yeah, we should let kids be trans. I'm like, well, what do you what?
Like kids be trans.
No. So he basically said like we should allow kids to like take hormone drugs without their parents' consent.
I
said,
I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, I'm not really well researched
I brought
on
up
that.
A bunch of reasons why that's not a good idea.
I'm not well researched on it, but just a hunch. I would say it's probably not a good idea. Just a hunch,
like,
call me crazy.
Like, to allow the schools to do it too, like without the parents' consent. Like, are you out of your mind, man?
That's crazy.
It was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so I don't remember all of it.
How do you send people? Oh, I think I did already. Okay, never mind. Okay. I'm just playing Grand Theft Auto, waiting for people to pop in and debate me, honestly.
Yeah, the enhanced edition. Yo, I would never understand how they made the enhanced edition and then they took out typing. Like,
yeah. Now you gotta message people like through their phone, with your phone, which is kind of annoying. You gotta send them individual messages.
Stupid.
And it kind of makes it harder for you to make friends. Much harder.
Yeah. So if you don't have a mic, bro, you're not communicating with nobody.
Yeah. And like, I used to go into rooms and be like, hey, anyone want to help me sell? And somebody will be like, yes. And then I'll invite them and then I'll add them as a friend afterwards. And then they'll be like, hey, can you help me? And then I'll be like, yeah. Some random guy just invited me to help him sell. And I just said yes. But it wasn't like he didn't tell me anything. He just invited me to the thing. So I guess now what you do is you just invite people in and hope they say yes, and then
just spam invite. That's exactly what we need. More invites in the phone. Random.
Yeah. More phone pop-ups. I'm still kind of think it's annoying that they have people calling every 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I think they should definitely get rid of that, man.
Apparently, they said there's a way to stop that. Yeah, they said you can actually turn it off. I'm like, well, if you turn it off, how do you get new missions? Like, so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't played GTA 5 in a year. Like, it's just I can't anymore. Like, I have a lot of stuff on there. A lot
I've
of
just
like
been playing a
vehicles.
while. I've been playing a little bit lately because the new mansion stuff came out and I wanted to try it out.
Wait, what new
And,
mansion stuff?
well, they came out with a new mansion, and Michael is in the new cutscene.
Oh, let me go to YouTube. I didn't know they came out with a new patch. What?
Yeah, it's actually the mansion's actually pretty good. You can buy it. What's up, Adam?
GTA 5
Hello.
mansion?
I think taxation
Hello,
is theft.
King.
What do you think?
I think you need it for a functioning society, right?
No.
Yeah, what examples of that do you have?
Well, I mean that's not a refutation as to whether or not it's theft.
I mean, if you want to call it that by your definition, I mean, sure. But like, you know, the question, the presumption of that
Alright, then I win.
model would mean that we shouldn't do it because it's theft.
Well, I think stealing is wrong, you know.
Stealing is wrong. I mean, do you not understand that we need this for a functioning society? We need taxes.
Cringe. Sorry. I made a
For like the
I made a
overall
meme.
society.
I literally made a meme of what you just said where somebody says, "Oh, we need taxation for a functioning society." And then on the bottom is a guy with playing guitar and he's like, "Cringe." And then it goes anyways, no, we don't need taxation. We could just privatize the functions of the state.
Like roads, stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
You understand there's things like the USPS that have greatly helped American society with, like, you know.
Yeah, but they fund it through theft.
Again,
So I say it harms more than it helps.
I mean, I think the best societies are the ones that have good social networks or good social safety systems that, you know, they do have taxes. I mean, you can look at this globally, right? I mean,
Well, that's your opinion. I would say it's immoral to pay for social stuff with theft. I think that's kind of messed up, man.
I mean, without theft, you can't really have a government, which then means you're essentially anarchist. I mean, where are these successful anarchists?
I am an
taxless
anarchist.
Societies. Yeah, I mean, where are these successful taxless anarchist societies in the globe? Because I can point to you many that are fucking awesome. That
Like those
have
old
taxes
alerts you
and
had on your
social
stream.
safety net.
Well, I don't think they're very awesome. I think they violate rights. Could you name me one awesome government?
America.
How do I drop this? American government is not awesome. They violate our rights every day. Through eminent domain,
Nobody ever said,
through robbing
I love
people,
going to the DMV.
Eminent domain doesn't happen.
It's
that
so
often.
efficient.
Okay,
through eminent domain, through making drugs illegal,
Oh, no, they
through
made the
making
drugs illegal.
prostitution illegal.
Oh no, they made the prostitution illegal.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
It's my right. It's my body, my choice.
It's your body, your choice. So you don't believe in any sort of end justifies the means, you know?
No, I think that's fundamentally immoral because the ends justify the means could justify pretty much any atrocity, rape, murder, genocide, so long as the ends justify the means.
Ends, yeah, the ends would have to justify the means, and typically, a rape would never justify the. How could a rape possibly justify the means?
Okay, I can think of an example. Let's say there's a beautiful utopia, and I'm sure you know what a utopia is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to treat you like I don't think you're stupid or anything. But I was just gonna say that. Let's say there's this beautiful utopia, and the only way to uphold this beautiful utopia, right, is to once a year you have to do a weird satanic ritual on which a woman must be raped. So do you just like let the utopia die, or do you rape the woman once a year?
How many people live in this utopia?
As many to make you say yes.
Even hell yes.
Okay.
Hell
Well then,
yeah.
so then there you go. There's a justified rape, even from
Yeah,
your
but
own
it has to be
standard.
based.
That's not based?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about 2 rapes? Would that make a
Name me
difference?
no, but here's the thing. Like, name me a society in which like less atrocities happen on average. Like,
I don't think any atrocity should be committed by the state.
Well, it's
That's
interesting
just
that
what
it's like-
aboutism.
No,
That's
no,
just
no,
what
no,
about
yeah,
this
yeah, no, no,
country.
Yeah. I understand it, but it's like it's kind of an interesting way of thinking where it's the idea of like it's okay if like thousands of things happen as a result of these policies, but if the state does one single thing wrong with fixing these thousands of things, then that's terrible.
I don't
It's
think
so
the
much
state
worse than
should
just
have
thousands of
policies.
things.
I think that state should just leave us alone and allow us to live our lives and not impose its will upon us. The state is a criminal organization. It's a mafia organization that extracts our money from us and says, hey, we are going to protect you and you got to pay us. And if you don't like it, then shut up.
So the state raping one girl a year in exchange for stopping thousands of girls from getting raped would be immoral for you?
100%. The ends.
Okay, yeah, it's just-
It's immoral to steal. It's immoral to rape. It's immoral to kill. It's immoral to violate the non-aggression principle.
Sure. I think that's just where we disagree. Yeah.
I'm afraid I can't.
Well, we do disagree that taxation is theft, so high five.
Hey, peace.
Okay.
That was easy. He didn't even answer it.
I mean, he agreed with me that taxation is theft. And that's the prompt.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, why anybody would even like try to argue that. Like, they take the money out of people's stuff without them wanting to. It's theft. Like, if I walk
100%.
into your home and say, "When I take stuff out," it's theft. Like,
I was like, high five. And then he left. I think he rejected my high five. Yeah.
man, I might have to start GTA 5.
Bro, play with
See if
me.
this update is- Yep, I'm opening it right now.
Okay, cool.
I just don't think I have any
I'll help
money
you
to
sell
buy.
stuff if you help me sell stuff.
Caps.
I don't even think I have money to buy a mansion. I could probably be wrong or not. But
If you need help selling stuff, I got you. I was helping some other guy selling stuff, but then I guess the game got like bugged out, and then he just left. So, so it is what it is.
just sign in. So what's the point of them having a launcher if the launcher keeps forgetting password? In my
I'm pretty sure this is the thing you can tick to remember it. I don't know.
yeah, that doesn't work. It's like EA sometimes we get my password. I'm like, oh wow, what's the point of me? Password. Rockstar.
Also, I got the one of the heists set up, like ready to go, but I just don't have anyone to do it with. I think my acid lab should be good now, so I'm gonna go check that out. I got so much
What
energy.
do you mean it's not the right password? Here we go. Yo, what? What? Oh, bro, wait a minute. I'm about to snap.
Uh-oh, did somebody hack your account?
The email address and password combination into do not match any account. Please try to get. I'm just. I can't, bro. I
Oh,
have
bro.
not changed his password. Let me go to rockstar.com. Bro.
You're gonna have to like probably have them email
decorate
you.
the mansion?
Yes, you could decorate the mansion, yeah. But this mansion is an endgame mansion. It's fucking expensive as shit. It's like $20 million, like this bitch, bro, to get all the stuff. But it has so much good stuff in it. Like, it has so much good stuff in it. Let me show you a little bit if you want. There's a pool. I could jump in the pool. Woo! And my face paint stays on.
You overpaid for that shit, I told you.
Whatever.
Set my password.
I gotta spend my millions on dollars on something. You get a tattoo guy right here, and you got a haircut guy too. Let me see. I want to see the different hairstyles. Did they add any new hairstyles?
They have to, but they always do that.
What's up, Betty Blue?
Oh, voice is enabled. I thought this was like a one-on-one debate. I was gonna just listen to you guys chat.
No, we agree. We're waiting for other people to come in so we could debate them. And I'm also playing GTA.
I think taxation is theft. Is that what you're saying? You think that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Damn it, but I don't know. I'm always stuck here, man. Like, explain this to me. If we don't do that, like, I get that the system itself is theft. Like, I understand that logically, but sometimes I struggle with understanding how are we supposed to function without doing it, you know? What am I missing there?
The thing is, you just don't know the theory of a lot of anarchists have for what we would do after, you know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there like a general, and
so,
I'm being serious in the sense that I've never heard of
you came to the right place. You came to the right place, my friend. So I'm an anarcho-capitalist, right? And now, so there's different kinds of anarchists, right? There's anarcho-communists, anarcho-syndicalists, and the anarcho-capitalists, anarcho-mutualists, anarcho-primitivists, anarcho-monarchists, right? And they all have their own.
Yeah, so
I think
what they all have in,
I'm
asking,
much because
they all believe in no state.
Epic.
What they all have in
okay.
Yeah, what they all have in common is they don't believe in unjust rulers, right? Which would be some sort of state. They're against some sort of the idea of taxation, right? Basically, sorry, excuse me. So basically, we all have our own view on what we ought to do. You know, what the state has done. So us ANCAPs, we believe we should abolish the state and completely privatize all of the functions of the state. So for instance, as opposed to having a state, we could have multiple competing private insurance agencies whom you can subscribe to, right? And as opposed to being forced to pay, there could be competing ones, and you could choose which one that you want, and whichever one best fits your best suits your situation. So basically, if you want a more cheaper one because you're more of a person that has a lot of weapons and is able to protect themselves and doesn't really need that much insurance, and insurance would be covering your body as well as the private property in which you own. And it would be basically the same thing as car insurance, but instead of your car, it's insuring your property. So if somebody were to come up to you and violate your property rights in some way, they would hunt down the person for restitution, take them to some sort of privatized court, and then they will extract restitution while paying you that restitution, and then you move on your merry way. So if, let's say, if I go up to you and I steal your TV set, I call up my private rights enforcement agency, and what they will do is they'll be like, hey, they'll go to the guy and they'll be like, hey, you stole this guy's thing. And if this guy has no, it's clear that the guy stole the thing, right? Well, then they'll extract restitution from the guy and make him pay back for what he stole, or at least pay me for what he stole. And as opposed to having one monopolistic, I
have a question.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
So the guys that are coming around, and it will sound like I'm poking holes in this, but I'm trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So how are the men that are employed to go inquire about, for example, like an insurance issue, like meaning someone's been robbed, or like returning property? How is that the people who investigate and seek to handle that? How are they paid?
Well, you pay basically the same way that you would pay for a car insurance. You would pay some sort of premium every single month, and then out of that premium, what they would do is anytime there's like some sort of claim of restitution, they will pull from the large amounts of funds that all the tons of people who are paying into it to basically pay you back, and then they use their resources to extract restitution from the criminal. It's the same way, like if you get into a car accident with another person, they will give you your money, and then they'll go take the other guy to court and try to get money from him.
Oh wait,
sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You're kind of cutting out.
yeah, I cut out. There's no way you heard what I said. All I said was really the more I think about it, I'm having trouble. Like I live in the city, so I'm trying to imagine all these people having different properties and varying levels of ownership. I guess I just don't know how you would protect their stuff in mass without some type of collection plate, right? Well, that's what I'm having trouble understanding.
Well, that's the collection plate would be the premiums you pay to your insurance company. If hundreds of people are paying to the same insurance company, they just pull from that anytime. Because the thing about insurance is that it covers things that happen very rarely, right? Which torts and claim liabilities and crime generally happens very rarely, depending on to the city that you live in. So because of that, because things happen very rarely and it doesn't happen, it happens spontaneously. It doesn't, you're not always able to predict when a crime is happening, right? You can basically get a whole bunch of people, have them pay a premium every single month, put that money together, have that business either invest that money or hold it into some sort of shares, right? Or into some bank or something like that. And then whenever you only have $1 million?
Bro, I don't even have that much, bro. I'm looking at the
$1 million?
price of these.
Oh, we're playing Grand Theft Auto online.
Bro, they
I
have
don't know.
gone out of their minds.
But yeah, it would work. I'm sure you know how insurance works. They pull from the money that everybody sort of puts together, and then whenever somebody gets into an accident.
Hang on a second. I'm thinking about the city still, right? And I'm thinking to myself, dude. So in your world, where we have this type of like lack of taxation, is it that wages are a lot higher? Because I can't imagine a poor person. The reason we have taxes is because you might have a group of poor people that need that protection, but you cannot give them that protection without subsidizing it in some way. And the only way to subsidize it is to kind of allocate funds from the people who are kind of paying more into the system, so that the people that need security at the bottom, right, could. I mean, that's basically what police officers are in our way. So
no,
in other words,
that's a good question. Continue.
Then you understand.
No, of course I understand. So the solution to that would, fundamentally we have, there's charities, of course. There's mutual aid, communities as well. And there's also claim subrogation, which is essentially within an ANCAP society, we believe in the idea of restitution claims in the sense that if somebody violates your rights, we generally don't like the idea of throwing people in prison because that generally destroys their productivity. That makes it so that they're not able to, contribute to society in any way. And in fact, we have to house them and actually pay for their living, which is, which actually takes away from, that's an actual added cost to society. So what you would expect is they would pay you, as opposed to like going to jail or something like that, they would have like pay you some sort of restitution that they would have to work off. And so anytime that you have a claim of restitution, so let's say I come up to you and I steal something or I stab you, I come up to you, I smack your butt and call you a slut, right? What ends up happening is you have a claim against me. You have a claim of restitution against me, right? So what you could do is you could go to some sort of private insurance firm and you can go, hey, I have a claim against this guy, and I'll give you a portion of the restitution if you give me some sort of lawyer to cover my case. What they'll do is they'll be like, okay, we'll give you a lawyer, and at the end we'll give you, and you don't have to pay us anything up front. What we'll do is just take a portion of the restitution that is given to you after the dispute is settled in some sort of arbitration or some sort of court. Once the claim is settled, once you get your restitution, the people give up their portion, and you don't have to pay anything. And in fact, you actually get money. And it actually happens in the real world. If you actually look like injury firm lawyers, or places like Morgan & Morgan, if you actually get into an accident at your job, they say, hey, you don't have to pay us anything. We just take a portion of the restitution that's given to you. Yeah. And it could work the same way.
But the thing about that is, I think what you're describing requires a lot of trust. I feel like there's a lot of, it's like almost like an honor system that I'm not sure I fully in the city. I'm just looking around, like I'm literally looking out my window. I'm just looking around. The streets are empty, but there's a lot of just untrustworthy people around. I don't know if I could leave my stuff unattended and hope I'm relying on like a security. I'm not saying that there's no other way, but when I imagine a society,
It's hard to imagine.
I think it would really just be a completely different society. I don't think it would be the one that we have now. That's how unimaginable it is. The more that
it would be very different to what we have now. As of what we have now, we have a monopolistic system where essentially the people who are who are providing the service of protection are a monopoly, and they don't get their money through voluntary transaction. They get it through force. The state comes in and forcefully extracts our wealth. And when you look at how much the state actually spends on individual protection in terms of police officers, it's actually not it is in some places. It is a large portion.
You're so right.
The state is the largest.
It's actually not the largest thing that we actually spend our money on. In fact, the largest thing that we actually spend our money on in the United States, although it is a good portion of what we spend our money on, what we mostly spend our money on is on entitlement programs, and as well as the our military, which we barely even use. We're not even in a war as of right now.
Entitlement programs.
Entitlement programs would be some like welfare or Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
You're anti those things?
100%, because it's funded through taxation, and taxation is theft.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. We believe in completely privatizing those functions. Medicaid, Medicare, functions like that should be.
You don't understand that. That's such a bad idea. No.
What will make you think that?
Privatization would hurt a lot of people. I think of those services, man.
Privatization has made us the most prosperous society in the world. Privatization has made the human race the most prosperous race of animal in the whole world, maybe in the universe.
I think you mean science by that term. I don't think privatization necessarily is the
a respect for private property rights allows for people to sell their goods and services.
Builds large amounts of capital.
It allows people to profit off of the goods and services in which they own. That is a huge incentive for people to bring goods and services to the market that will allow them to reap more benefits than what they spend, thus creating a market of profit rewarding people who create goods and services that people want more than the money that's in their pocket. That's why price coordinated economies end up bringing such abundance. If only the state got out of its way.
That's really no way, man. I'm very close to this. So I just have a personal. Hey, Anthony? I can see I can just see the value of a lot of these programs, and a lot of people would be gone, or they'd be dead or really sick without these programs. No way.
Well, let me give you let me put this. Sure, go ahead.
Mutually beneficial exchanges create wealth and allow individuals to become wealthier.
Like mutual aid, and don't you think private?
You don't have to guess that. We can. There's history. These things used to be private, and it failed. That's why we started having public services.
Actually, no, that's actually succeeded. Do you know what mutual aid societies were?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
One third of the American population belonged to them. They provided wealth.
Yeah, but there's a reason they went away, and it's because
health insurance companies. Teddy Roosevelt implemented some, regulations on them.
Health insurance companies are private, so that's not a point in your favor.
We don't support coercion, whether that be government or like a private individual. Like, by your logic, like, I should support a merger just because a merger is an individual, which is not our belief.
Mm-hmm.
We just believe things should be voluntarily provided.
Fundamentally,
I somewhat agree on.
Medicaid and Medicare is the issue of helping people and helping pay for their medical bills is not the issue fundamentally. The issue is how it is funded. It is funded through taxes, and taxation is theft. It is a forceful extraction of wealth. And I just want to put this into perspective for you with how inefficient the state is at allocating scarce means in the terms of welfare benefits as well as entitlement programs. If you were to take if in 2020, if you were to take every single dollar that the United States spent on not mutual aid, but welfare programs and entitlement programs and combined it all, and then you took every single dollar and then split it amongst every single poor person, each individual person in poverty within the United States would each have $30,000 every single year. A family of 30.
I don't believe that's true.
It is true. 90,000. Look it up yourself. You can look it up yourself. All you need to do is go onto the United States. All you need to do, or just show me the math or something. All you need to do is go into the federal budget and look up how much the United States spent on entitlement programs.
I'll do one better.
Entitlement. How much the United States? Yeah, just ask ChatGPT. No problem. All you need to do is ask in the United States in federal in year 2020 how much the United States spent on all entitlement programs and welfare programs. Then, after you're done finding that number, what you do is you ask ChatGPT.
Well, let me tell it. I'm talking to it now, so let me.
Yeah, no problem. Ask the first question. I might be getting ahead of myself.
You hear me say it. So
sure, go ahead.
Okay, can you go ahead and pull up? First,
ask it how many.
First, I want you to add up. I can do it. Please stop talking because it's gonna read you too. Stop. I gotta start over.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you please look up? All I want you to add up all the money in 2020 or any year thereafter of the amount of money that was spent on aid, entitlement programs, welfare, anything in that vein for the U.S. And then I want you to give me the number of
people in poverty
individuals.
Yeah.
And give me the number of impoverished individuals in the United States. And I want you to split that number that you got for a given year, say 2020.
Divide it
between all. Divide it between all the people. That split means divide. Divide it between all the people
who are in poverty
that you got from that number that were impoverished. Go. I'm not high enough, man. I'll tell you that right the fuck now. But we're gonna fix that. $30,000? Because I don't know, man. I gotta see that.
I think it was like 29. I think it was last I checked. It was around $29,000 per impoverished person.
If it's close, I'll still count. I'll still count it. I won't be like, oh, you said.
Yeah. But is it saying anything?
I won't do that. It's still analyzing. I got that pro shit.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, and Party Pigeon, whenever you want to add me or play, just let me know.
Sithis, are you an anarcho-capitalist?
Oh, yes, I am. Me and Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. In an anarcho-capitalist society, would there be
I don't know
communities where taxes exist? Or
Hopefully not.
Hey, yo, I hate to interrupt you guys. You can get back to it. I'm just going to say this. I don't know what they added up together, but it says it's like $100,000 per person. So it's more than 30,000.
Whoa, that's even worse than I thought. So what must have happened, right?
I don't know.
And what must have happened, right, is in my first calculation, there must have been some programs that I might have not.
Oh shit! No, it was counting Social Security. It counted Social Security.
Social Security. Yes, that is count. That does count. Yes, that does count. That's an entitlement.
Count.
That's an entitlement program. That's an entitlement program.
Right, but wait a second. Wait, hey, that's not smart. Think about it.
No, it is. It's an entitlement program.
Let me explain. You're interrupting. Just think.
Okay.
The people who receive Social Security also pay into Social Security.
Doesn't matter.
Are not the same. No, it doesn't matter. Here's why.
Doesn't matter. It's an entitlement program.
It doesn't matter. Please let me explain why.
Okay.
You're dividing up all the entitlement programs amongst all the impoverished people, but that only makes sense to do that if the impoverished people use all that money.
No. The
money
reason
left
why
over, that's
you're
but
misunderstanding the purpose.
why-
You're misunderstanding the purpose
Yeah,
of
I am.
the study.
Explain it.
The reason why we quote unquote have welfare, right, from the liberal perspective is to try to reduce or eliminate poverty, right? So the reason why I took all the entitlement programs and told you to divide it amongst all the. I mean, even if you were to, and Betty, even if you were to take out Social Security, it would still probably be fucking high as shit. All right. So even if you were to take it out,
I'm just saying, like,
no, I know. I'm just
saying,
putting that on top of that. Just don't worry. I'm just explaining. But the reason why I said that is because the main reason why people say they support welfare is to eliminate or reduce poverty. So if we are spending all of this money to reduce poverty, and it's like, say, $30,000, let's just say $30,000 per person. It would probably be better for us to give. It would be better for the government to literally just take all that money that they're spending on all of these programs and just individually give it to each person. That just shows you how inefficient they are. It's just a point to how inefficient they are with handling all of this money. That's the point.
You can see how a little misleading that is, though, right?
It's not misleading at all. How is it misleading?
Because, well, some people might hear what you're saying and think that that's how much money poor people are getting.
No. I never said that.
I know you didn't say that. That's why it's misleading. If I see that we have so much Social Security, we have so much welfare coming in and social aid coming in, that each poor person can get $30,000 or $100,000. It sounds a lot like there's people that are there's poor people getting so much of our money that they damn near are getting like a salary.
It's not. No, the issue is the issue isn't the poor people. The issue is the way that the government is spending the money. The government is inefficient with the money.
To clarify, I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm saying,
yeah.
Do you see how that statement could be misleading? Do you still see
only
that?
if you're purposely trying to misrepresent what I'm saying. Not saying that's what you're doing, but fundamentally, like, I think it's pretty straightforward. What you're doing is the point it to welfare and let me know if I'm wrong, is to reduce or get rid of poverty. But if we're spending all of this money, literally $30,000 per poor person in the United States, that's enough money. That's literally a fucking higher than a minimum wage job for a lot of people. If you get 2 people, that's like $60,000 a year. That's enough to buy an apartment, right?
The average person per year pays like $2,000 for like welfare programs.
Yeah, and the amount of money that they receive, right, in terms of like the amount of money that these poor people are receiving from these benefits, that from the amount of money that we're spending, is nowhere near close to what we're spending, which means that they're spending it inefficiently. That money is going somewhere, but I don't know where it's going.
Yeah, but why target A programs and stuff then? If the government is spending money
I target
poorly,
all programs. The point is, the issue is all I'm pointing out is that the state is extremely inefficient with its money, and the main reason why that is because of the economic calculation problem.
Maybe, but I'm just saying that, like, the more I listen, because I was with you with the taxation stuff, I've heard arguments in that vein. It makes sense to me. But all the stuff you're doing is pointing out like poor people. But you're saying, but then at the same time, you're saying, well, the government misspends all money. Yeah, why not point out that other stuff? Like, why divide it amongst poor people? Like, why even mention?
Because you're the one that brought it up. You're the one that brought up welfare.
No, you brought up welfare, and
I did not bring up welfare. You were the one that brought up welfare.
No, you did. You said you wanted to get rid of welfare, and I was like, wait, what? Okay, I don't know where you were. I didn't bring up welfare. I responded to you saying something about eliminating it.
Okay, you bring up welfare, and I was saying that I don't believe in welfare, and the reason why I don't believe in welfare is because it's a extraction of wealth from innocent people, regardless of whether or not it's helping people.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't have even known to say that. I wasn't. I don't even know this discussion, so I don't think I said that, bro. I don't. In what context would I have brought up welfare?
Because you were asking what would happen to poor people in an ANCAP society. And you said that basically that without these welfare programs, the poor people would basically be screwed. And then my rebuttal to that is that the poor people are already screwed.
It wasn't welfare programs, but I didn't. No. It was about the security of the building. Like basically the insurance. That's what I brought up. I brought up like you said basically you were saying that without like real police officers, people would have to pay for insurance, and a part of that would be like some form of security for their property. And then I was like, wait a second. Well, that would
No,
that
you're.
would kind of.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand.
But I'm saying, it's not that I don't understand. I'm just retracting our argument to get to the point where.
So we agree on welfare is inefficient now.
I think the government is inefficient at spending money. I think that's been proven, but.
Well, because of the economic calculation problem.
I mean,
You know what the economic calculation problem is?
No.
So the economic calculation problem is basically when you don't have private property in the means of production, or private property trades in the means of production, you don't have prices that arise from those private property trades. So when you go to the store and you like sell something or buy something, you put a price on what you want to buy, or the person puts a price on what they want to sell, and what you buy and what people just buy and what people choose not to buy or sell or shoot when they, vice versa. That basically creates prices, or it allows the people who are selling those things to see it gives them signals as to what people are willing to buy and at what price and at what quantity. I mean, if you ever go into the store, you ever wonder, like, how do these stores know what people want, how much, and at what quantity? Well, the reason why they do is they look at what we call external factor prices, which are prices outside of the business that you own. And they look at generally, like, if you want to sell cookies, right? How do you know how much generally what people are willing to pay for cookies? Well, what you do is you look at like other businesses, right? And you look at how much they're willing to sell it.
He left.
Oh.
I will say, Sithis.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Sure, go ahead, Antony.
Never mind.
Were you going to criticize me?
I was listening to what you said, KingSithis. I accidentally clicked the thingy.
It's okay. Without private property in the means of production, there's no prices that arise. Without those prices, you're not able to make efficient decisions as to where things should be and where things should not be. So, for instance, it's like trying to build a house without knowing the price of nails, woods, bricks, and all the things associated with it, and then trying to sell that house and make more money than what you spent. Without those proper prices, you can't really make a very efficient decision because you don't know if you're wasting or if you're using too much. The state doesn't use prices to coordinate their decisions. What they do is they steal money from people and they arbitrarily choose where the money should go. That's why more often than not they tend to spend way too much, or because all state purchases are third-party purchases. They aren't people buying things for themselves. It's people buying for things for other people using other people's money, and they're making an assumption as to what they think what they think you want. It's never like, based on actual private property prices.
Is it this?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm realizing something listening to you, because I'm not really sure if what you're saying is incorrect. Meaning, I'm leaning towards the fact that you may be correct. I think you might be right about what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the government spends inefficiently. I know that very, very well. I'm not going to say how I know that, but
I was just explaining the reason why. We call this the economic calculation problem in economics, and it was actually discovered by an Austrian economist called Ludwig von Mises, and a lot of people sort of been expanding on it since then.
Was he studying America when he found this out?
He was in Austria. I don't know.
He was studying his own economy.
He was no. Well, I mean, he was just studying economics in general. He was a economics professor, and he learned economics in Austria, and he studied. And a lot of the people who he taught and learned from were from Austria. So they kind of started their own school of economics, and they called it the Austrian School of Economics because they're kind of all from Austria. And then from there, they started teaching people their version of economics, and that's the version of economics in which I follow.
Well, have you ever Have you ever heard of the non-aggression principle?
Yep, that's what I follow.
Exactly. I saw a video about that, and it led me into more videos about taxation being theft. And that's why I really don't remember disagreeing with anything. Just like everything you said was factual, so I don't disagree with it. And yet still, I care so deeply for the poor, and I just can't imagine a world. I just can't imagine a world where people aren't getting the help they need. And also,
it's hard to
billionaires
imagine,
should
man.
be taxed.
I mean, like I said, in the past, mutual aid societies used to be a very popular form of social safety nets for individuals. I mean, 1/3 of America at one point belonged to them. They only became, or rather, they declined in size and power due to the many policies of the government. Such as some of the fees added to the large practices, the adoption of state alternatives. There was also a huge disinformation campaign against them, and what sort of destroyed it in the end was Medicaid.
Yeah, mutual aid societies wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't help people on the scale that government programs can.
So
They did.
Well, what prevents?
That's what I think. That's what I'm skeptical of. I'm wondering. There's far more people now.
Okay, wait. Then why did 1/3 of the U.S. or the U.S. population belong to mutual aid societies? And this doesn't even include churches and communities.
We just don't have the numbers on that.
It's from Mutual Aid to the Welfare State by David Beto.
Yeah, there was he actually wrote a book on it, and the main reason why, a huge reason why they got taken away was because a lot of doctors were actually angry that the Lodge Society was lowering prices lower than that they were comfortable with. They wanted the prices to be high so that they could take advantage of these low income customers. So what they did is they went to the state and complained to the Lodge about the Lodge Society, and forced and got together and made it so that they imposed a bunch of regulations, as well as had basically the welfare state basically take over a lot of the functions of mutual aid societies, thus crowding it out and having people less incentivized to go into it.
That's definitely a lie. Doctors created the welfare state because they didn't want people to get they didn't want to be undercut.
Can I ask you a question?
When this go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I feel kind of bad, but like, dude, I think what he's saying might be true, just because I don't know that it's true. I'm not saying that it definitely happened, but I mean, look at the state of medicine right now. Like, it's pretty like kept. Medicine is hard to get, and it's expensive, specifically because some practitioners really earn a lot of money.
The issue is the reason why they.
That's because of insurance, not because of the doctors. The doctors.
No, it's not insurance. The issue is regulation. Fundamentally, the issue is regulation and also patent laws. They also restrict. They also restrict the amount of doctors that are allowed to become doctors by creating licensing laws that make it illegal for any person that doesn't have a college degree specified by the state in order to practice medicine.
Yeah.
That restricts the supply. That extremely restrict. Excuse me. That extremely. Hold on. Why are you guys interrupting? What's up with all the interruptions?
Hold on. Now I just.
I'm not even finished speaking.
I just want to clarify something that you put out, which is misinformation. Okay.
It's not okay. Let me finish saying it, and then you can interrupt me. All right, and then you can speak.
Not that. This is for a previous point you made. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Very important.
Okay, but then what you could do is you could wait until I'm finished talking, and then you can talk. Or you could just wait until another person's finished talking, and then you can talk. How about that? So fundamentally,
just give him the floor, Ash.
Okay. So whenever you put a restriction on the amount of people that are allowed to become doctors, as well as we also restrict the amount of people who are practicing from other countries as well to come here and practice medicine, that creates a bottleneck or a artificial restriction on the supply of doctors, thus increasing the cost of doctors. And doctors really love these laws because it allows them to overcharge patients. Now you can continue.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you cited
first,
licensing. Can I
on.
just say something for a bit? It'll be short, but
Hold on.
you cited licensing as a problem. Like licensing, you have to have a college degree to practice as a doctor, and what's the problem in that?
It's so expensive.
You increase the
you need to be educated in medicine.
You create a
but
bottleneck.
the price is so high, man. It's so crazy.
My God, the state should provide you with education. Wow, good job. Okay, hold on.
The state supplying people with education makes it more expensive.
I need to go on with this. No, it doesn't, because the state would make it free. Now,
how
you get away from capitalism.
Yeah, wouldn't the state make it free?
Now hold on. Let's get back on this. Okay.
Well, I mean, you made a claim, so I was just.
Hold on. Let's ask this. Okay. Now, how many individuals did you say were in a mutual aid societies? Can you give me that number, please?
It was, according to more conservative estimates, it was like 8 to 10%. According to more liberal estimates, it was actually up to 40%. But I would personally take the liberal estimates with a pinch of salt.
Well, naturally, that's what you should do. Now, just to say this, it was from what the information I got here, it says around 500,000, which. Given the United States population, you could probably put that around 10%, give or take a few. So that seems about accurate. Now, the issue with this is when you have a mutual aid society that only benefits around 10% of the population, which, mind you, people actively have to effectively be taxed for this entity, which is a governing entity, mind you. It just makes sense to centralize.
Mutual aid is private.
Everybody gets let me continue. It just ensures that everybody gets the same ability for need, because the people who lead this society are already going to increase their own ability and have the high possibility of squandering this wealth. So with that whole thing, you basically just get the government yet again. It's better to be able to hit everybody and have a lot of corruption than to be able to hit only a few and have a lot of corruption. So it doesn't make any logical sense. Now, hold on, to hit this as well, the whole thing with the doctor's license, by the way, and why we, put doctors on that whole thing and have to educate them to our own standards. People in, say, let's do a extreme example, just to show the absurdity of that statement. If you go to a tribalistic village to where they have a medicine man, if they come here claiming they're a doctor and try peddling you asbestos to cure your cancer, then there's a bit of an issue, now isn't there? That's why we test these people and make sure that they actually know what they're fucking doing.
I don't think. Wait.
Right, let Anthony respond.
Look, I respect you for. Okay, let's all go. I was gonna say, with a mutual aid societies, first of all, why would it have to be centralized? Like, if someone's starting to tax you involuntarily, you can always go to another. Then you have an option of going to another society that does the services you like. There's freedom of association, and no, if it was true that you cannot, expand services, then first of all, it wouldn't have been as large as 10% of the population, with conservative estimates, mind you. Well, conservative estimates. And that would also refute, the entirety of like why companies go in size, or why literally any institution is able to be larger. Like, there's economies of scale. With the licensure, what Sithis was talking about wasn't about we endorse, shitty practices, but rather that with the competition, the people who do provide shitty practices would be the people who would provide shitty practices would
lose profit.
Yeah, exactly. Or, and the only people who'd ever go to them are people who, assuming we counter fraud, or rather we prosecute fraud, would only go there at their own risk, basically.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving low quality service so long as you're honest about what is going on. Fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with cutting corners so long as you're honest. I mean, you can't ban.
We've already had this play out before, just so you know.
I mean, I don't fundamentally like. There's people that do this stuff all the time. You ever heard of
No.
what you
We've
call it?
already had a
Wait, hold
system
on. Let
that
me
you're
finish.
asking for
Wait, let
play
me
out.
finish. Last point. I promise. Last point. I promise.
I'm clarifying what I said.
Oh, go ahead then.
I'm clarifying what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's calm down. Yeah.
Well, what's the alternative to taxes?
Hold on.
Privatization. Well, actually, I want to let me make my last point then.
Let King go on. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you guys can
He's
go.
got the floor. Let him make his last point. Get the floor, and then you go next.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if he was done. That's why I stood silent. So, what I was gonna say was, fuck. I already forgot what I was going to say. Honestly. So you go ahead then.
Okay. So the issue with what you're going on about, right, is that we've already had this play out. There's nothing that stops this mutual aid society from acting like a mining corporation in, say, Kentucky. There's nothing that actively stops it from getting together, and you stated this already, and just being honest and saying, yeah, we're going to make our own currency, and yeah, we're going to make it to where this currency only works within our area, and if it doesn't, if you go somewhere else, it doesn't work. It's not valuable over there. And on top of that, you have to work for us to receive this currency. So if you're going to be in this area, that's what you need. And people don't just up and move. That's retarded. That's a absolutely insane thing to say. That you should just up and leave.
Continue.
Hold on.
Yeah, let's hold on the insults.
With that, I'm not insulting anybody. I'm saying that notion that you should just up and leave is stupid. That's what I'm not insulting.
We understand.
Anybody.
Let's just continue.
Yeah, just make the point. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Either way. So with this whole funny little thing, you just get it to where, you have slavery with extra steps. It's wage slavery. That's effectively what you're asking for. It's what the state is actively trying to prevent. Wow.
Well,
Okay.
can I?
Okay. Cithis.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you mentioned what was it called? Like company towns, or rather, company towns. The reason why company towns formed isn't because of they wanted to entrap the workers who have some like indentured servitude. No, the reason why mining towns were formed was because of a risk of theft, especially in mining towns where there's a lot of equipment with lots of value at risk of getting stolen. That was the main reason why company towns were formed. About mutual aid societies. Mutual aid societies do not act. They act similar to insurance, but they are not but they are not exactly the same. The main difference is that they hold community values. The main reason why people join mutual aid societies is because they shared similar values. For example, there was a mutual aid society for African Americans who helped African Americans develop businesses and educate. Please, can I continue? Look, I understand. You said that to me. You wanted me to not interrupt you, and I wasn't interrupting you. So
I'm
don't
saying
interrupt
my
me.
kids had died. I'm not. I didn't
Okay.
mean to...
Look. Yeah. Okay. And mutual aid. Mutual aid societies existed as a shared value, as a shared community value, which is why African American mutual aid societies existed that provided welfare, education, and business practices to African Americans. There were ones that existed for women to help women out in society. There were multiple types of mutual aid societies that supported their own community because they had their own community. Let's not forget that in America there weren't just mutual aid societies. People also had access to churches, to their family, overall just charities as well. So I think your analysis of of mutual aid seems to be based on purely an insurance model rather than a monetary model, rather than on a general homo egens model.
Can I make a
Realize
point?
the government does the same exact
Oh,
thing,
go ahead.
correct? The government.
Yeah, and
the
it's
government,
doing it forcefully, and it has the economic
Actually, I was actually gonna make that point. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you real quick, but I was.
If I may
Go
say,
ahead, then.
if I just
You
may
go
say
ahead.
the whole forceful thing. The issue with everything that you're saying here is, no matter what, force will be applied, and no matter what, the government, as it currently is, isn't enforcing its will onto anyone within the group, to in-group, out-group bias, which is always going to be a consequence of any tribe or any form of government. It is always the case that the in-group will be prioritized and the out-group will not be. An example of what you had already said with these mutual aid societies.
Yeah.
The Black Americans are being treated more favorably within these groups and not
So what?
helping foreign, say, the more common Americans.
Yeah, but they're the ones that
They
pay
are
in.
actively, hold on. They are
You're not
actively
understanding our
They are
point.
actively supporting this group over that group. It is actively trying to sow division within the nation. Now, with that, what you get is armed, people will obviously become angry and try to steal what they don't have. This is what you see every single time. People are naturally greedy. That's the whole thing of capitalism. The issue with what you want is you think that people aren't that way and that they won't actively
No, not at
kill
all.
you to achieve
Have
it.
you ever read any any of our methodologies? I mean, praxeology does.
I know enough about anarchism to know that it
Maxon, I actually encourage anarchists, and then I embed myself in their groups. So when they win, I can just build up an army of people who are loyal to me to overthrow their open society. They do the work for you. You got to encourage these people, dude. You don't
I don't
debate
want that.
them. Why?
No, I don't
I would
want
make
that.
a great. I
Why?
would make
Because
a great
I care
autocratic
about my
leader.
people and I don't want them to die.
Dude, dude, I don't think you understand the level of Holodomor I'm going to commit
All
once I
right,
take
guys,
power
back
from
to the
these people.
conversation.
All right.
I do think it is a
Well,
little
first
bit
of all,
odd.
all right, Sithis, all right.
Sorry, just
He's not
if you
joking
don't,
either. He's psychotic.
buddy, real quick.
Yeah,
I do want to make
you're
one
a bit
point, and then
of a
I'll
layman.
hand it back to Anthony. I do think it's a little bit odd for you to be like, "Oh my God, this private company, they created their own currency, and the people and they pay them in this currency, and then they use that money to buy things that they sell." Well, isn't that pretty much the
All right,
state?
yeah, Sithis, yeah, we already got all from.
That's
Yeah, I mean-
hilarious. Wow, I never made that connection. That's pretty good.
But the
Bravo.
the difference, right? I think when it comes to why we support private companies as opposed to say as opposed to a state, is that fundamentally the state doesn't ask your permission. It's not providing you a service in exchange for the goods or service that you're exchanging with them. They come in with men with guns, and they force you to pay regardless of whether you want the service or don't want the service. So, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, but like that was a bit of a straw man you made. We aren't saying that, oh yeah, in group or out group. Yes, of course, communities form to as a means to cultivate shared values. Usually, what we are saying is that government welfare relies on the expropriation of people's resources, that being taxation, to fund those services. And another bad thing about like a lot of the welfare services in many countries is that it doesn't exactly solve the economic calculation problem.
So first, I didn't straw man you. That's not what a straw man is. I simply told you what was going to occur with what you wanted. Okay. Now, the issue with everything you just said is that in general, all right. Now, here, hold on. Just say the last bit of what you said again, please.
And it doesn't.
I had a lapse of memory. Forgive me.
And I said it doesn't also account for the economic calculation problem.
Oh no! Right before that. Right before that.
I think I just said that. Well, it's based on the expropriation of individuals' resources, i.e., taxation.
Thank you. Okay. Now, the issue with what you just said there is capitalism already does that. Capitalism as itself is built off exploiting people. You realize this, correct?
I don't support capitalism. I support free markets. Continue.
Okay. Let's just use capitalism as a shorthand.
All right. Yeah, let's go.
Individual away. paying an individual for the entire value of said service. Okay? Now, for an example, all right, now with a free market or whatever you so call it, because you're going to need capitalists within a free market. Within this free market, you're trying to.
I don't, Maxim. I don't know, but your microphone is your microphone is messing up a little bit.
We aren't saying politics now. It's just you're getting interrupted.
I'm not. What?
No, your microphone is messing up.
Yeah.
Your microphone is the quality of your microphone is cutting in and out.
How about this?
This should be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Okay, there you
go. You know, I'm gonna hang back. I'm gonna moderate. You guys go ahead.
Yeah. Either way, so if you're trying to sell, and let's say you own a bread shop, okay, you're trying to, and you hire somebody to bake your bread, you're going to have to. Okay, then. Well, either way, I'll continue on with this. You're going to have to.
He's back. He's back.
Sorry, I accidentally,
Yeah. Okay. So let me say this.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Just restart.
Either way. Yeah. So let's say you have a bread shop and you hire somebody to bake your bread, right? You're going to have to pay that individual less money for what their labor is actually worth. And or the other option that you have is you're going to have to pay that individual adequately for their labor, and then you're going to have to put that labor onto the price of that bread. Now, the issue here is, one, for the capitalist, it just makes more sense to underpay your worker. That's what we do now. And in general, if you
why are you reciting an outdated theory from the 1800s or the 19th
I'm not. That's
century?
what we do today.
No, do you know what the labor theory of value is?
Just because I don't know something by name doesn't.
You do realize that was an outdated,
I don't remember names
theory of value that was created, by David Ricardo back in the 19th century, actually the 18th century.
You should watch my YouTube video on it.
Today.
We actually do not use it. We use marginal utility today. It's a very outdated model. You should have known that in your economic classes.
Well, maybe you should explain. Maybe you should explain to him why.
I will explain. That was a bit dishonest of me, so I will apologize. But I will say this: so if a business owner is on a loss, he's running on a loss. Does that mean that the worker is exploiting the business owner? According to your logic. Well, yeah, because surplus labor value, according to the labor theory of value, the business owner is taking, or the capitalist is taking the surplus labor value from the worker. So that means if he's running a loss, that means he's the worker's actually exploiting the business owner. Then
no, not even close. That doesn't make any sense.
It does.
The fact the fact that you come at that means you're grasping at straws. So the issue with what you're going at here is you're trying to say that because the laborer is laboring and that the business is failing for the job that he has been hired to do, necessarily doesn't mean that individual's quality of work is subpar. That means possibly, let's say that this individual is trying to bake bread, but here, let me phrase it this way, because you wouldn't say individual within this instance. This capitalist is trying to bake bread. His bread shop's in the middle of, say, a mall, and there's 10 other bread shops, and his bread ingredients that he buys for the baker to make are subpar. That's not the worker's fault whatsoever. You know whose fault that is? That's the fault of the capitalist. There's a variety of reasons for the issues here. The reason that the business fails could be very well on the worker. You're very correct. But the worker is never exploiting the capitalist. It's always the worker being exploited by the capitalist.
Then why are you using labor as an axiom?
Because this individual's labor is not being properly adequated and being properly rewarded, which, under a proper system, the state very well could do.
Okay, so let's just say now, like, people just don't. No. Wait, could you repeat that again?
Time preference?
Just so I can,
That's fine. This individual is constantly being exploited. Okay, no matter what, this individual. I'm paraphrasing. Forgive me. If that's okay. This individual can never be exploit the capitalist, because the capitalist is exploiting them for not adequately rewarding their labor, which under the proper system, the government could very well do. Under a free market, though, that's impossible.
Why are they not adequately, providing value for their, labor?
Why are they not being rewarded for their labor properly?
Yeah, properly, yeah.
Because they physically cannot.
What do you mean? But, like, why? Well, not why, but...
Because they have to make a profit.
And why is profit in this instance, taken away from the worker?
Okay.
Surplus labor value, like I said. So it goes back to surplus labor value, right?
No, hold on. So the issue here is that A, if the worker that is currently making said product, okay, let's hypothetically say there's several bakers around town, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all running on this same model. It doesn't really change anything. That worker has to go to another capitalist store and pay that overpriced and or underpriced setup to where either a worker is being exploited for that worker to achieve their bread, or the person who doesn't work for these capitalists, let's say we get a mechanic to go in there, like hypothetical, not this specific capitalist, goes in to buy bread. This person actively has to pay that capitalist for the extra that he shouldn't be paying to said capitalist. It doesn't make any logical sense. What should be happening, okay, because this individual needs no profit in general, is that this individual should go into the store, pay this individual for the labor and material that it took to bake the bread, and then vacate. That's what should occur. But that doesn't happen. What happens is, this individual, just for owning the area, is being paid for just existing. Landlordism is a fantastic example of this, by the way.
All right. Well, first, like I said, this is 18th century economics. Eugen van Boombewerk, yeah, I did say that, yes. Eugen van Boombewerk, he involved time preference into this. When a worker works, or when someone is in employment under an individual, so under a business, that's because they have an immediate preference for time, or rather, they prefer time in the present or in near the present, i.e., they have a higher time preference. For a business owner who invests into capital, capital is what creates. Capital is what helps create, goods and services. You would require a lower time preference. You'd require more investment for that. So the fact that there's a misalignment in time preferences would mean that the profit isn't exactly, theft, or not theft, but theft. Because I think you've used the term theft before.
I didn't use that. Well, okay. And the issue with what you're saying here, okay, is that in general, this individual is, okay, say that again. I'm jumping ahead. Forgive me. I want to make sure that I'm
Can I jump in here?
Your argument accurately.
Sithis, you actually know this argument.
So yeah, I actually made a whole YouTube video about this. Now, obviously, that doesn't matter, but I'm just saying. So basically, the idea of time preference, right, is that people tend to prefer.
I know what I was going to say. Don't worry. Sorry to cut you off.
Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Forgive me.
Okay, no problem. Oh, do you want to say it now?
Yeah, I'll say it.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
The issue with what you're going off here is, all right, and I'm so sorry for getting about this. I'm being harebrained.
Mm-hmm.
Is that this worker isn't working because of a time preference? They're working because they need to eat. That's why everyone.
Well, that is what a time preference is. Time preference is a preference for the preference for whether you want time of your preference for time of the present. So eating right now is higher time preference. So that proves my point. A worker wants to eat, so he works. That's a higher time preference.
A worker.
He has a higher time preference because of his food consumption.
A worker
needs
has
food.
To eat. They need to eat to live. They don't.
Yes, and that's a high by definition.
It's not a preference. You don't eat, you die.
No. Wait, you're not understanding what Maxon, you're not understanding what we're saying. We understand that. Hold on, Maxon. Listen. Hold on, guys. Let me try to jump in here.
For immediate needs.
So yes, you are correct. You need to eat in order to live, right? But why do you need to eat in order to live? Because you want to live. So all needs fundamentally are wants.
Oh, so if I just don't want to live, then I don't work. Wow. Okay. That's not.
No, I'm not. That's not what I said. I'm just saying the only point. Wait. The only point that I'm making is that not all. There is no such thing as a need, because all needs are wants. Because the only reason why you need to eat. Okay. Well, why do you need to eat?
Why do you need to eat? Because you need to live. You and yourself.
You need to. Why do you need to live?
This is the difference between a need and a want.
Yeah, so wait, let's follow it up. Wait, there's a follow-up. Let's follow up. Why do you need to live?
You dumbass Betty. Okay, forgive me.
No, don't be rude. Don't be rude.
Wow,
take it easy.
Betty's
whoa.
Let's take it easy, man.
Either way.
Let's take it easy, guys.
You're crazy, man.
Either way. Now, the issue with what's going on here, okay? To say that somebody should... Now, this is what you're insinuating, okay?
You're not answering the question.
You do not need to live. That somebody.
Betty, we got this, guys.
Hold on.
We are describing an economic.
Listen. Okay. That somebody's need, because it is a natural. Every being, just to show the example that it is natural, every being must pursue the three main things. The things they need to continue.
Why?
Those are the main priorities of your
Why do they need to do that?
Why do they need to do that? Because of evolution.
Wait, and Josh, do not interrupt, please.
You just asked the big. Hold on. He just asked the big fucking question. What's the meaning to life, effectively? Nobody fucking knows.
That's not what We're not asking you what the meaning of life is.
There's no reason that you need to live evolutionarily. Hold on.
Okay, so you want to live, right? You want to live.
No.
Okay.
No.
Look,
everybody wants to live, but everybody
needs so then that's a want.
You're getting into some metaphysical bullshit. Everybody needs to live for themselves.
No shit, we aren't arguing that.
I know he is arguing that. You aren't. I'm not saying you are. He is. That's the issue. You need to live. That's the prime thing. And
well, you want to live.
You need to live. Now, in the sect of needing to live, you need things to continue living. Those are your needs, water and food. Now, obviously, there are other needs, but those are more interpersonal. That's the issue with what you're going on here.
Okay.
Those are the reasons why things are going on and saying that.
Let Anthony go. Let Anthony go, and then after we'll let Betty go. All right.
I was gonna say.
I'm not even interrupting.
With time preference, we aren't being like tautologically with need and preference. And need is also preference, but fine. We aren't really arguing whether we need it. What we are arguing is the fact that the worker has a higher time preference for his needs and preferences. That means that he has a higher time preference for immediate time, i.e. food, water, and shelter, or whatever that may be, anything else that may be. That means that they work... that means that they don't put off resources for capital investment. Now, it makes sense why they don't do that. We aren't saying that, oh yeah, he should invest into capital, or that he shouldn't invest into capital. What we are saying is that his conditions as a worker makes complete sense. He is demanding time immediately for his food, shelter, and water.
Yeah. So people who are working right now, who work at a business, they don't have the capital in order to start their own business. So what they do to feed themselves in the meantime, right? What they do is they work a job, a wage. They have a higher time preference for the food as of right now. So what they do, as opposed to investing in a business and making money that way, they earn a wage, and the person who starts the business, they have a lower time preference, which means they have to forego capital, forego things that they want in the present, things essentially that they want in the present, and that they need to basically hold off on those things and invest in those things into things that create more things. And their reward for holding off on their current pleasure is a profit. essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what
the profit.
And,
just to tell what Sithis is saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Profit is the reward for a lower time preference.
Okay,
basically.
I know how capitalism works, and you know what? There's a point in time I agree with capitalism. Guess what? It's like agrarianism. You could make the same argument for agrarianism, and guess what? I would partially have to agree with you. But guess what? There is in no way, shape, or form that an individual under any means within our current specialized economy, which it must be, mind you have to have a specialized economy that has to be very centralized to form such things. You're never going to get a decentralized computer built. It's impossible. Actively. Now, so with that whole setup, okay, you have to have a abled to be decentralized system and a cheap entry cost, something that has already been passed. That is an impossibility for an individual, for say, to go to work for a mechanic and save up enough funding to open a airport. It is an impossibility for that to occur, especially for them to maintain profit. Now, with that being said, capitalism dies, and so does the free market, because monopolies, at this point, must be formed, and or run by the state. So, with this whole setup here, you don't really have the capabilities unless you want to take us back 100 or so years. Now, the only other opportunities you have for that are in newer fields or pop-up, fads. An example of this would be, say,
fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners, sure. Or those the boo-boos were one of the more recent ones, to where an individual can do such and sort.
Or those animal bracelets from like 2011.
It is an impossibility for an individual to actively be a capitalist unless you are already within that class today. It is
That's not true. That's not necessarily true. So, for instance,
you're right.
I could give a very easy, quick example, and then I'll hand it over to Anthony. Anyone can, as long as you have a car,
I had a
technically.
question.
Oh, real quick. Okay, I'll hand it over to Betty because you have been waiting for a while. So I'll just say this one thing and then I'll hand it over to you. Okay.
Of course.
I was going to say, anyone who has a car can technically be a capitalist, because if you own a car, you can be a DoorDash driver, which is essentially your own business because you are working for yourself. So it's not
a means of production.
It's a means of production.
It's a capital goods.
And that was my point. So Betty, you can go ahead.
Well, I have a question for Max, and my question is basically, so if a person perceives that they have the need to live, does that thought just spontaneously pop into their head, or is there anything that precedes it? And if there's anything that precedes it, what is that?
All right. So to hit the dash driver thing, no, that is a horrible example, by the way.
It is a capital good by definition.
No,
it is by definition.
Well, allow him to respond. Allow him to respond.
Yeah. So the issue with what he was making here is, DoorDash drivers are actively workers. They are not the capitalists. They do not own the business. DoorDash owns them. They are an employee, not a capitalist. The capitalist is somebody who owns something. The DoorDash makes money by them ordering the food and taking a percentage of the fee from you, and then you deliver it, and then they don't even get paid in full. They only get paid a couple of dollars for doing so because of tipping laws. So that's a really bad.
Not logical.
No.
Well, as a DoorDash driver, I can actually tell you.
Wait.
Sure.
I was going to just say something.
Sure.
DoorDash and like Uber and all those services are a middleman. So by the same logic, because a lot of businesses have middlemen, that means that they are owned by those middlemen. It's a silly way of viewing it. The only way they would actually be workers is if middlemen owned the cars, owned the
Right.
Exactly.
owned the the capital goods they're using, i.e., the car.
Yeah. So, for instance, the means of production. Sorry, I was just gonna say, because I'm a DoorDash driver, and I'll pass it back to you, Max. Just real quickly, the capital that we're talking about is the car, because the capital that's the capital investment. That is what is being used. That is what is being used
good.
Well, that is a capital good. It's what's being used in order to create the profit. If you don't have a car, you're not able to do the dash. You know what I mean? Or a bike, or that's the means.
Is a good.
That is a means of production.
Used to provide
DoorDash is not the business owner, because they are not the owner of the car. DoorDash, as Anthony was trying to say, is merely a middleman. All they're doing is connecting. They're providing the service of connecting you with the person who is purchasing the product, and they're connecting you with them so that you could do a delivery. But you fundamentally are the owner of the means of production, in that you're the capitalist.
They are the means of production whatsoever. They are the means to get the production to you. Completely different. That's like saying a milkman is a capitalist. Now, just to show the absurdity of
wait, let
him go, Max. Max go. So yeah.
The issue with the absurdity of this statement, okay, if you take it to its rational conclusion of what you just said, the individual that is, let's say, the McDonald's cashier woman, right, who hands you your food, isn't a worker for McDonald's. They're actually a capitalist.
They don't own the means of production.
They own the means of production to get your food.
No, they don't.
To you. They own their body.
They do not.
I don't believe that's true.
No,
do they own?
Okay, so basically, the difference, I could very easily explain the difference, right? So when you're a worker at McDonald's, you do not own the McDonald's. You do not own the equipment that's associated. You do not own the capital that creates the burgers. Yeah. Whereas with a DoorDash driver, you do own the capital. You are the owner of the car, which is the means of production that allows you to do the deliveries. So it's
you don't own the food. You don't own the bag.
You don't own the food or the bag, but the food is a means of
purchase for food. That is your food. Well, it's food.
The purchasers, not the DoorDash.
It's the purchase for food, but they're paying you, right, to use your car, which is the means of production in which you own, to deliver that food to them.
No, that's mistaken. They're not paying you. Like, so for an example, you said yourself, King, or I'm not going to call you that. We're going to call you Smith.
You call me Sithis. Or Sith.
I'm going to call you. Your name is Smith.
Smith.
Yes, your name is Smith.
Go ahead.
Now, the issue with what's going on here, okay, massive misconception. I understand why you want to think this. Nobody wants to be, the exploited. The issue with what you hold on. The
let him go. Let him go.
Going on here is that you are not being paid by the individual that has ordered their food. Okay, you are being paid by DoorDash.
An example.
It doesn't matter. The middleman is still
like I
there.
said, Amazon has middlemen as well. Do the middlemen own Amazon?
Middlemen are in Amazon, and guess what? Even if they are still at the higher rings of it, you don't just become a capitalist because of that. You know what they are? Middle managers. Okay? Middle managers are different than capitalists. The whole fucking caboodle. Okay?
I do want to criticize one idea. Is that okay? I do want to criticize this idea of there's somehow some difference between personal and private property, in the sense that all goods, and somehow there's like a difference between, say, a car or the means of production versus, say, your clothing and your basic necessities. So, for instance, I'm actually going to read a quote from one of my YouTube videos, but it actually shows a quote. But it's a quote by Peter Kropotkin. In his book, The Conquest of Bread, Kropotkin criticized the idea that housing, clothing, and other basic necessities should be treated as personal property separate from the means of production. He pointed out that these things aren't just luxuries or comforts. They're essential to the worker's ability to be productive. As he put it, the civilized man needs a roof, a room, a hearth, and a bed. It is true that the bed, the room, and the house is a home for the idleness is a home of idleness for the non-producer, but for the worker, a room properly heated and lighted is just as much as of an instrument of production as a tool or the machine. It is the place where the nerves and sinews gather strength for the work of the morrow, and the rest of the workman's is the daily repairing of the machine. In other words, Peter Kropotkin, a communist who despised capitalism, understood that the so-called distinction between personal and private property doesn't hold up. If something is essential to a person's ability to live and work, it plays just as much of a role in production as any factory or piece of equipment.
You don't need to read somebody's full explorating of what he's.
Well, it's what I'm trying to, but you understand the point, Dan.
I understand the point. I'm not a communist. I'm something that you either consider much worse or it's the same fucking thing.
But you're making a distinction between personal and private property, are you not?
I'm not. I view them as no different.
Oh, so you consider all property to be personal or private?
Yes. If you own something, you own it. You privately own it. If you do not own something, then
so then what's wrong? Then what's wrong with the owners making a profit if everything is private?
The issue here is that they own something they should have no ability to own. That's what I'm arguing.
So you're making it. So should people not be allowed to own?
They should have no ability to own. Now, do not mistake in this. Okay.
Okay.
Within that statement, let me first disagree with this, so there's no misconfusion on my ideological statement here. A home and a house. All right. They are a means of production, sure.
Okay.
But they are not a means of production for an individual. They are a means of production for society. You can't have children without a house. You can't have rest which keeps the workers happy and more motivated without that home as well, or the amenities that go within it, so on and so forth. Without those things, society doesn't function and it dies. And within my worldview, okay, there is no difference because this is pretty, self-explanatory. See how states work. The state and the people are one and the same because the society and state are the same, and the society and the people are the same. You see? Now,
no, I don't see. I don't see. So my issue is, you didn't really answer my question, which the question was.
I was about to get there.
Okay.
The issue is, I don't believe anything that is needed for the production of society should be owned by the state. But for the production,
so you're distinguishing between personal and private property.
Exactly. That's why a home.
Wait a minute. Okay, so my quote was relevant.
That's why a home can be owned. I agree and disagree with the quote. That's why a home can be owned, for an example, but not say an entire condo. In my belief, you own.
Yeah, but your home is just as much of a means. It's just as essential to the means of production as the machines. Yeah. So they're just as so therefore it should be private property. It should be considered to be private property. Your housing, your dwelling, your toothbrush, your car, everything that you own should be all considered to be private property. This distinction is arbitrary.
Own the factory alone.
Huh?
You don't own the factory alone.
No, I understand that, but you own your house alone, right?
You do.
Well, and it's a part of the means of production, correct?
For you, yes.
So therefore, you're owning a portion of the means of production, capital that is a part of the means that is essential to the means of production. Therefore, you are a capitalist. And to make a distinction, basically,
what a capitalist merely is.
And what is a capitalist?
Capitalist is somebody. Now, of course, you have several definitions of this. It's a very controversial thing.
Excuse me.
Beat around the bush. But in general, what a capitalist is somebody who owns the means of the entire production. That is what it is. If you want to take production.
So your car is a mean of production. Your house is a mean of production.
If you want to take the word of capitalist and take it to its most extreme and misgate what I am meaning by the word capitalist, sure. I will say that. But if you
So
were to
then there
take
is no
capitalism in the
distinction between
meaning that
personal
I
and
am
private
using,
property.
there is a difference between owning something and owning something is what I am declaring.
To the means of production, correct?
No, go out and south of the border, get a bunch of Mexicans, right? And have them build my house for like 10 pesos. Then obviously I'm treating them incorrectly within the confines of this nation. I need to appropriately compensate them, but I am not. I am gypping them. Okay? Like that is actively not appropriately
Sounds like you help them.
providing them for their labor. You don't help them. You actually harm them.
You gave them
actually
money, something they wanted to do.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
why
they
should
benefited, right?
again?
Means
But
nothing.
we need to go back to the point. You're saying,
I would say they both people.
but we need to
both
go back
parties
to the
benefited.
point. Right? Hold on, guys. We need to get back to the point, which is the essential
That's
point,
false.
which is essentially you're saying, oh, there is a difference between personal and private property, when clearly you don't
Never
think
said
there
there
is
was.
one. Okay, so
I've
is there a
actually-
difference
But
between
the
personal and
thing
private
is,
property or no?
From what it seems like, you are
I'm declaring. Hold on, just to clear this up. I don't think, and factually it isn't. A factory is not something that is private. Not one person should be able to own a factory.
No.
Nor
Oh, no,
can.
we're not asking about should or should not. We're asking
right.
you
They
whether
should,
or
and they
no.
and
We
they don't.
listen,
It's
Max.
impossible
Max.
for them to do so.
Wait. We're asking you whether or not there is a difference between personal and private property. Not should, whether or not is.
I'm not saying that. No.
Is there?
You're now
I'm asking you.
strawmanning me.
We're
You're
asking you.
strawmanning me.
I'm not
You're
strawman. I'm
strawmanning me. Don't
asking
do
you
that.
a question.
You did.
It's a question.
You just said.
He's not making a claim. He's asking.
I'm not
you a
asking
question.
you. I'm literally
I know.
just asking you.
I made a claim and he strawmanned me. That's the issue.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
asking
hold
you.
on. No,
I'm
Zio,
asking you.
Listen. Hold on. Just to clear this up, okay? Because this was very simple. I said there wasn't. But to clarify.
So, okay, so you're sure.
No, listen.
Okay.
To clarify my worldview, okay? A factory, something that is within our current system, held as private property by capitalists. They own the means of production.
So you're sure
is not something that is truly private because it is.
Okay, so then there
unjustly
is a
taken.
difference. Now there is a difference.
No, there isn't. There
Okay,
isn't.
so then why
It
are you
isn't something that
differentiating
is
them? Why are
private.
you differentiating
It
them
isn't
if there's no
something that
difference?
because it's not something that can be privately held. That's the issue.
Like your clothes, your house, your dwelling, your toothbrush, all
Your
those things are
house is
private
privately
property.
held.
So therefore, it should be all held in common.
Why is my house privately owned, but not my factory? Can you explain that to me?
What?
Well,
Can you
because
explain how can you? No, hold up.
oh,
Can you
sorry.
explain that in a scenario where I own both products. If I own my house, all right, and I own a factory, can you explain how my house, which I purchased with my capital, is my property, but the factory that I purchased with my capital is not my property? Could you explain that to me?
Well, in general, let me say this. In no way, shape, or form should anybody be able to purchase a factory. We are working within a very
Or a
exploitative
toothbrush.
system. What? Either way, that was really.
That's private property.
Either way.
That's private
Well,
property.
every form of property has the potential to be a means of production. So, like,
No,
I can
all of it is.
Let me finish.
Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Let me finish. Well, my even though this is disgusting, I can potentially use my toothbrush as a means of production. I can rent her out to people. Now it's disgusting, but there's probably a few people out there who would do it. Point is, all property has that potential.
Okay.
Also, to go back to the
All
quote,
property
if you
can be used as capital.
and to go back to
A
the
gun
quote,
has the potential to kill somebody. It doesn't mean that's its intended purpose.
and to go back to the quote, actually, to hone in this even harder, even if you're a worker for the means of production, anything that you use that is essentially needed in order to work, like your toothbrush, your car, your house, your bed, those are all as much of an instrument of production as the machines and the building, because you need those things in order to work. If you don't have those things, you can't work. So why separate those, have this arbitrary line?
Now, this is where I'm going to use a funny word just to explain this to you. This is really
He's
simple.
going to say nigger.
Don't say that.
This guy
Don't say
gets it.
that.
This guy gets it. I'm gonna say the funny word.
Don't do it.
On God.
That's the game.
Don't do it.
Well, now you're just incentivizing me to do so.
I'm live streaming.
Either way.
What's the word?
The gamer
the funny word. The gamer word, yes.
What is it?
It's the one that starts
Stop.
N.
Stop. Just say your point, please.
Either way. So going on. So in general, let's go with this, okay? Your house is personal. It only entails to you, okay? This is where the term personal property, okay, would be able to be used adequately. Though it is private, you own it, okay? Doesn't change that it is personal. The difference being there is that just because something is personal doesn't mean that it can't be owned by a whole. You could theoretically have a very personal relationship with your job at, let's say, a car factory, but guess what? You don't own the factory in your own self. Nobody can singly own an entire means of production, okay, within a functional system, that is.
If something is essential to a person's ability to live and work, it plays just as much of a role in production as any piece of equipment.
You're correct, but guess what? Only one person lives in that house or that room or so on and so forth, okay? But 1,000 people work in that factory.
Doesn't matter. If you need your toothbrush in order to work, you need your car in order to work.
Matter.
That if you can't brush your teeth, you can't make it to work. That affects other people at your job. If you can't drive, you can't get to work. That affects other people at your job. So all of this stuff affects other people at your job if you do not have it.
Do you own the subway?
No, I don't personally.
Okay. No. Hold on. So the issue here is, all right, nobody could own a subway. Nobody could. The reason why you can't, hold on. The reason why you can't, and it's very simple. If the individuals taking the subway say no, then it doesn't work. The individuals of, let's say, an Amazon warehouse decide that Jeff Bezos no longer matters. This is where the constringing of, I believe that's the term. Forgive me if it's not.
Constraint?
Yes, I believe. But either way, let's not get focused on a word. That's why these individuals, if they just chose to stop working for him and instead, just take over the factory for themselves, the whole concept of the kids taking over the schoolyard, it no longer belongs to him. It doesn't. It always.
But then that's just might makes right. Then that's just might makes right.
They didn't take it by force. They didn't do anything along these lines. They wouldn't have to.
Then how do you take it? How do you take it?
They already own it.
They don't. How do they own it?
They already own it.
How?
How do they own it? Because it's their factory.
So
the workers are allowed to own private property. Why are they allowed to own private property?
They don't. It's not private property. It's public property.
It's not private. Well, I mean, it's you being used in privately to make a profit, right?
It's not being used to make a profit. It doesn't have to be. Within a capitalist system, if these individuals were to hypothetically take over this factory and use it for their own means, it could be very well used to.
Then if there's no profit, what's it going to incentivize them to work? If they're not going to make more money than what it costs to run it, what's going to incentivize them to do it?
Well, that depends on what system you ask, and that's a whole different conversation.
Under any system, it doesn't matter whether you're socialist, communist, fascist, whatever. If you spend more than what it costs to produce what you're making, you're gonna get more losses than what you're making, and eventually you're gonna run out of resources. So you have to make more than what it costs to run your society.
Hold on. Now you're getting into a more detailed conversation about economics, and you'd have to go into several different economical things. Now, obviously, so for an example here, let's just go this and not use my own ideology. In communism, let's not get muddied with how communism is done in practice, and let's go with how communists believe it to be. Okay, we're working on theories within this instance here. Okay, because all of this is within theory. All right. Now, these individuals would go out and they do it because they want to, and then they would share it with the masses within communism. That's how it's meant to be done. Now, let's say, for an example, fascism, you would do so because the state requires that and the state and the people are one and the same. They believe that as well. That's the core tenet of fascism, but we'll move on from that. I'm not a fascist. These individuals believe that their nation must have these things to continue on and do so, and that their nation will better from their work, and that's why they do so. Like, these things are all massively all over the place because they're different ideologies. These ideologies don't need capital to continue. Capital, as we currently call it, as a currency system, is fine, but it muddies how other currency systems and price systems would function.
How would your communist society deal with the economic calculation?
I'm not a communist.
Well, I mean, you reference communism.
And that's a different question. And?
Okay, how would you deal with the
I referenced fascism as well.
Hold on. Let me ask my question. How would you deal with the economic calculation problem under this system?
Ask them. I don't know. I'm a technocrat.
How do you deal with the economic calculation problem under your system?
Well, it's simple. So basically, you just, in my belief, you do it by two things. A, off of what people are spending their currency on, and not money, as we call it. We're making that distinction for an obvious reason.
Wait, can you only tell me what a technocrat is, or explain that to me first?
Oh yeah, sure. Basically, it's a whole convoluted thing. I'm going to give you a very, very short stop definition.
Whatever you want.
I'll give you the governmental system and then a little bit of the economic. Basically, I want the experts of those of positions in charge of those positions on a council. Okay. So, for an example, nine of the best humanly possible farmers around town would be on a council deliberating what should be going on with that, and then that council would be on a council deliberating what should be going on with the rest of the state. Now, it's obviously more complicated than that with the lower level of governance. That's obviously the highest level. Now, economically, basically, it is to be as efficient as possible, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, all that jazz. Extracting as much stuff as humanly possible. The currency system is to where you, as an individual, are provided the level of currency to purchase amenities with the amount of usefulness and or ability that your job provides the people. So that's basically what.
Do they have prices in the? Do they have prices? Do they have private property in the means of production?
Yeah. Is there private property? Yes, there's private property.
And the means of production
the means of production are handled by the people and or state.
So the means of production would be run by the state, and the state would be run by technocrats.
That is what I advocate for. Yes.
How do they deal with? So here's the issue with like, I mean, Anthony, do you want to jump in and explain the ECP, or do you want me to do it?
I'm currently doing something right now.
Okay, so basically, the economic calculation problem is when you have trade in the means.
That's what we were on about. You want to know about technocracy? I can answer that question. I already know.
Huh?
I know what that is.
The economic calculation problem?
Yeah, I was answering at that, and you wanted me to explain what technocracy was.
Oh, okay, then go ahead. Then how would they deal with it?
Okay. So first, within our modern this just to say this fun little tidbit, communist, as an example, wanted this before. Just to say, this is something that communism and technocracy does share in common. To predict what individuals want before they want it, and have a very limited amount. And then this is something that technocracy wants, not common. And have a very limited amount of an item produced that people have the option to procure. Okay? And then those items that they wish to have produce enough for the citizens that want them, and then that would be it. And then price it based off of the material that the state has put in there. Does that make sense to you? The
No.
last bit, I feel like I explained kind of poorly. If you want me to, go into
not
that.
really. Who's setting the prices?
Nobody.
How do you determine
the price? The price is set based off of the material pushed into it.
So it's input based pricing?
Yes. And the amount of those items being procured would only be
how do they know by how much to increase the price?
Based off of how much material there is. If you're
how do they know how to price those materials?
It's based off how much the state has.
No, well then how do they know to price it at any rate?
It's
let's say like there's 200. Let's say there's like 200 kilos of this material. How do you know how do you know how much to price it before putting it on the market?
It would have to be a much bigger system. Like, okay, you're asking a question that is impossible to answer for me to do. Okay.
Well, yeah, because it's insolvable.
No, it's not insolvable. It's very solvable. The issue with what you're going off here is that you would have to already be within a system that has access to a wide variety of materials. You can't, you could say hypothetically,
there could be new products on the market, right?
Hold on. Hypothetically, let's say you have titanium and iron, right? We could put an arbitrary price on whatever, right? We could do that all day and night and have fun and giddy about around, right? But I don't want to do that because that gets us nowhere. All right. If I were to do that in an example, just put a random price on steel and then put a random price on gold based on and say how much random they have a thing there, just to show an example of how the system would work, I could do that. But putting a base.
But what are they basing that price on?
You can just how much material there is. So for an example.
So how do they know what to price it?
Just because there's
to show this as an example.
Wait. Just quickly.
No, hold on.
Maxon.
There are several ways you can do it. You can do it.
Explain.
I'm not going to tell you which one would be done. Okay.
No, I just want one way. Like, how do you know?
Here, this is simple. Okay.
Okay.
You just choose. Hypothetically, let's say
you arbitrarily choose a price.
You don't arbitrarily choose it. You first
then how do you?
Have to
what do you base it off
price. Of? You arbitrarily choose one price.
Like okay, so then you do arbitrary. Okay, got you. Okay.
No, you listen. This is how every system has ever worked.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's not how it works. And under a private property system,
we're not doing that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In capitalism, how it was fundamentally started, an arbitrary price was put on the share. It had to be.
It's not made arbitrarily.
It was arbitrary.
Prices are not made arbitrarily.
Companies don't truly exist.
No. You're Maxon.
Like
you're incorrect.
No, listen.
Prices are not made arbitrarily.
Do not truly exist. Listen. Companies do not truly exist. They only exist within belief. If they do not have belief, they do not exist. They are no different than France, for an example. Without the people, it doesn't exist. Now, with that being said, the price chosen arbitrarily was put into practice and set the standard for the others. That's what you have to do with everything else. The United States currency, for an example, why did we choose $1 instead of $1,000? Why did we choose instead of $1,000, $1 million? Why did we do that?
For what?
Because
you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Arbitrary point. That's why we did it.
It's not on the free market. Business owners. Hold on. No, can I respond now?
No, so sure, but like,
let me respond.
Something super retarded. Forgive me.
I didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry.
He said because we left the gold standard, and that's not even what I was referring to.
That's what just ignore that for now. Just listen to me. Okay. So, really stupid. Fundamentally, in a free market, when you have private property and the means of production, business owners who own capital and the goods associated with that is associated with the creation, whatever those things create, right? All right. If I have a factory, You're not just arbitrarily making a price, putting a price on your goods and services, and then calling a day. You have to charge. Well, that is what you're saying.
No, it isn't.
Well, then how do they determine what the price of something is? No, I'm not. Well, okay, let me finish. Just let me finish.
Wait.
Okay, Anthony, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
What did you mean by like they first set an arbitrary price, and wait, and then after setting the price, they adjusted for supply and demand. Is that what you meant?
Okay, effectively, that is what within a technical way that would be true. Okay, basically what you just said, Anton. Yes.
So in a free market,
supply and demand, supply and demand is taken in by if the individuals, hypothetically, okay, let's say these individuals are using an insane amount of paper, right? Just hypothetically. These people are loving the shit out of paper. They buy it all the time with their money, right? The state starts to have less and less paper within that area, and therefore the price of paper begins to rise. But the price initially of paper is just whatever, based off of let's even base it off of one material, which is what you would have to do effectively. You'd base it off the highest amount of items you have or resources you have. Let's say it's iron within this. One gram of iron is worth $100, or $1, and 1 gram of paper therefore is worth $5. There, you have the base set price system. Wow.
Okay, so
that's
let me adjust.
Okay, go ahead.
Later on.
Basically, that would be what would occur. Yes.
But like, I got a question. So above that, how would you know what are the best goods used to produce, the final good? Like, for example, how would you know? Like, let's just say you're making, I don't know, like steel pans for cooking. How would you know what is the most efficient material to use, the most cost efficient material for the final good? I mean, without any proper price system, you're not really going to be able to do that. I mean, yes, you'll have access to all these materials, but which material is the best? That's the question. Well, which one causes the least amount of losses?
Well, I mean, obviously, so if anything, this would be returning back to the system that we had before with very regulated capitalism in the 50s and 60s, to where a quality good would be produced that would last long because the state wouldn't want you to use or wouldn't want to waste the material, and it would want it to last so the material is again not wasted.
There's a lot of wants.
I see where you're coming.
You understand?
Wait.
Like I said that really stupidly, but you understand.
I see what you mean, but that's not exactly what I was talking about. What I'm talking about is, I'm not saying about quality or quantity. What I'm saying is that in the economy, there's trade-offs and opportunity costs. You can't just go constantly for quality, neither can you go constantly for quantity. And according to consumer demand, whatever consumers need, some consumers may benefit more from a less quality product because they're only using it in the short term, while others may be benefiting more from a high quality product because they're using it in the long term. And now the price system in a market exists to reflect that. They provide multiple types of the same good, but with different qualities, different materials, whatever, at different quantities to match that demand. Now, under your system, I don't see how that works. This is what Ludwig von Mises articulated when he was talking about the economic calculation problem. He almost got a Nobel Peace Prize. He almost got a Nobel Prize in economics for that, mind you.
They cheated him out of it.
Yeah, basically. But his one of his buddies, Hayek, did get a fucking economics prize for a very similar theory.
The knowledge problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't.
Oh, not similar theory. I mean, his his
The
buddy,
theory, yeah.
got a prize for it. But yeah, he was meant to get a Nobel a prize for that. For his work on the economic calculation problem. So I don't exactly see how a technocratic society solves that. And so far there has been no criticism. So if you somehow criticize a year, chances are, there's probably, like, I've read quite a bit on it, but there are a lot of literature I've missed on it as well. So chances are there's a lot more literature that addresses the criticisms you would probably have. Like, this isn't... Yeah.
But Ludwig von Mises, in his book, he very plainly laid out that even if you had the most smartest people, you got the most smartest mathematicians, the most smartest economists, and you got them all in a room, and you just tried to have them, try to monopolize the industries and coordinate it based on what they think is the best and this and this and that. Even those people, even the most smartest, highest IQ people in society, would not be able to.
That's what the Soviet Union did. They hired very smart mathematicians to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, what the Soviet Union did was they started relying on international markets and black markets to price goods. Now that's still not effective, but it was a compromise. It was a compromise so that the entire economy wouldn't collapse. And there's examples where before they did that, the economy was going crazy. So first of all, there were quotas. Under quotas in the Soviet Union, for example, they had maybe weight quotas or quantity quotas, whatever. So for example, when it came to nails, oftentimes they'd create huge nails specifically designed for housing, and there'd be no mini nails for or normal nails to just nail something in normally. Or for clothing, they would oftentimes make huge pieces of clothing of April, and that meant that people who were shorter or smaller had less access to their clothing. In the end, they had to quit that, and had to rely on international and black market prices. Even if we look at project one Chilean project, I forgot what it was called, in where they used a supercomputer to calculate stuff. That didn't exactly solve that problem either. I mean, it told the people that, oh yeah, you should probably allocate your resources to there, but it didn't tell them whether that was good according to the trade-offs and opportunity costs.
Yeah, even with advanced AI. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but even with advanced AI, but even with advanced AI, the only reason why they're able to predict what you want generally, right, is by looking at what you do in your day-to-day life and your interactions in the market. Without that market in place, without those transactions, they won't have any data in order to make those calculations, right? So when you go to Facebook Market or something, when you you ever think a lot of people make funny conspiracy theories, oh, I thought about this the other day, or I looked at this the other day and I saw it all over Facebook. The only reason why they know that is because they're looking at what you do, they look at what you like, they look at what you buy, right? And then they make guesses, as to what they think you will want next, right? And it's not foolproof. So without that market, without that information, they basically have nothing to compute with. It's impossible to know.
Is this a calculation of a socialist commonwealth debate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is a technocrat.
I have a few quotations on that. Any planned economies, I'm not. Yeah, hang on. I have a few quotations on that.
Are you an ANCAP?
I don't even need to cite an Austrian economist to refute it. Hang on, I'll just cite Sol. And let me find it.
Oh, I love Thomas Sowell.
So hang on. So this is a quote from his book Basic Economics, right? So First part is his exposition. The second part is a quotation from this two Soviet economists, Shimlev and Popov.
I know this quote.
During the era of the government-directed economy of the Soviet Union, for example, prices were not set by supply and demand, but by central planners who sent their resources to various uses by direct commands, supplemented by prices that the planners raised or lowered as they saw fit. Two Soviet economists, Nikolai Shimlev and Vladimir Popov, described a situation in which their government raised the price. It would pay for moleskins, leading to hunters to get and sell more of them. There we go. Yeah, I was explaining how, like, for example, in like the Soviet Union, they were like, because of quotas, you
want me to read it?
Someone has an open. Because of quotas, they sorry, you have an open mic.
Who is that, me?
I'm not advocating for what the Soviet Union is.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, without
well, this applies to any planned economy.
Inputs.
This applies to any planned economy.
Consumer inputs to allocate resources efficiently, at least.
It is a planned economy within certain aspects, but it is not a entirely planned economy. Okay?
No, we aren't saying that, but we are saying that you still need direct.
That's what he said.
Okay, I understand. Well, but even without like true real prices, you're not going to get like optimal allocation of resources, especially when there's a lot of capital involved. Because yes, the economic calculation problem can be, well, this is not really the economic calculation problem, but you can technically allocate resources without, higher end goods, i.e. capital goods. So, for immediate consumption. So think of like tribal societies that, they may rely on like, hunting and gathering, whatever. But when it starts involving more and more capital goods and starts absorbing more capital goods, then it becomes problematic. Because then you'd have to compare which material is best. Is this material the best? And how do we, do it to,
calculate it like that?
Yeah, any monopolistic system, when you don't have competition. Sorry, go ahead.
You wouldn't calculate what material is best. You'd do it off of use. What material is most used.
But if there's no competition, if there's no competition and there's only one monopoly and there's only one firm in that industry, they have nothing in order to compare themselves to if there's no competition. So they have no way to tell whether or not there could be another way of using those scarce resources in a more efficient way, because they're the only one in the market. So for instance, if you look at like in industries where there's like a lot of competition, like food and things like that, they can test and compare and contrast to other industries and other businesses and copy other people's ideas, because they have other people who are also in the business of making profit that are also providing the same service and sometimes do things in a different way. But if you have one firm, you have nothing to compare yourself to. So you don't even have the ability to even know whether or not there's another way to use that thing more efficiently.
The system in of itself at once more efficient ways to achieve things. So why wouldn't it? Let's use your pan example before as a beautiful, fun little example. Why wouldn't it try and attempt to achieve a more efficient system to actively cut down on the used material and all of this? Especially if you put strict guidelines for what must be produced.
If it's a monopoly providing it, I'm assuming the monopoly would be the state, right? So if only the state is providing it, they have zero to no incentive to improve the service. There's absolutely zero, nada, none.
And plus, how would you calculate without inputs? Like try to calculate.
Let's first hit the state thing. So why exactly would the state not have a need to ensure that its resources are being as hoarded as they need to be? a state does not want to, again with the pans, actively waste so much material on an amenity which it needs to do to ensure that its citizens are happy so it doesn't get overthrown. This is how every system has ever worked.
Can I make one small counterpoint to this, and then I'll hand it over to whoever's next? This kind of just reminds me of with certain transgender people where they say, oh, well, I want to be a woman. I want to be a woman. Well, I'm sorry, you could want all you want, but there are underlying facts that kind of you can't really overcome no matter how much you want it. Same thing with sort of the economic
it's the
same with
it's happen.
Well, it's the same thing with the economic calculation problem. You can't just want. You could want all you want to be efficient, but without private property and the means of production, without competition, it's just you don't have the capability to do so. It's literally impossible.
Okay. It isn't, because yet again, as explained, why in God's name would there be in any way, shape, or form
someone's hot micing?
It's fucking Mr. Anime Profile Lolly Santa version.
Yeah, Duel. Yeah, he muted. Go ahead, continue, please.
By the way, it is within the best interest of the state and the people if the state is actively trying to, which inadvertently lowers the price, mind you, to lower the amount of resources going into a material. The pan, as an example. If this pan, all right, let's say it's just a basic stainless steel pan. If they can make that stainless steel pan so efficient, hypothetically, we're going to La La Land. Fucking only an atom thick of worth thick of steel, and that is the best they can get it humanly possible. Guess what? They've achieved the best possible way to, and it still does all of its functions, of course. They've achieved the way to make the pan in the best way humanly possible. Like they've done it. They don't need to worry about pricing. They don't need to worry about any of that jazz with this item anymore because it's done so efficiently. The system actively asks for the most efficient way to do something because it provides a way for not only the state but the people to benefit the most.
Well, the problem is... Wait.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, the problem is far... like, by the same logic, why doesn't the government just allocate 100% of the GDP to, like, fucking lightsaber research? I mean, obviously you're going to say that's a straw man, but hear me out. The problem is that just making the best product means that you have less of that resources, or less of those resources for other sectors of the economy. Like I said, there are trade-offs and opportunity costs. You can't. This is why price or inputs are important, so that you can have the least amount of economic losses when choosing capital to create a final good. Anyway, you can talk Duel.
I was gonna say something similar to that effect about opportunity costs, right? Every single resource that you put towards making this super efficient mega pan or something, I don't know the context of that exactly, you lose out on resources allocated to elsewhere. The economic calculation problem is about not being able to evaluate opportunity costs. That's basically what we're saying.
Yeah, if there's only one company making pans and has nothing else to compare itself to, how does it know it's making the most sufficient pan if there's nothing else to compare itself to? If it's the only pan in town,
and that it's not making profit loss calculation.
Mm-hmm.
The sufficiency doesn't matter within this instance because you're trying to compare something that it is already providing a baseline of it is already keyed for the highest level quality possible and the least amount of material possible at the same exact time, it's already keying for that. And then the other issue here is that which is just being ignored yet again. It doesn't need to worry about profit loss because the state doesn't have to worry about the current capitalistic system that we're in. It's a completely different system. It's like saying that
if it's not worried about capital, if it's not worried about profit loss, then it's probably making a loss. Therefore, it's not providing a service that
doesn't even make any sense.
Therefore, it's not the most value productive route.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, because prices are signals.
Logical fucking sense.
Prices are signals.
Are signals of information on whether or not you did something good or bad.
In this instance, the signal would be the purchase or non-purchase of the item. That is as simple as this.
Yeah, but the thing is, even when you talk about efficiency, using the least amount and outputting the most, how do you know specifically that they're using the least amount? Also, how do you know that using less of one product is more efficient than using more? Sometimes using more of a product can actually be more efficient than using less of that product. How do you know?
Only know until there is found a better way. This is how it's always
But when you have a
done.
Monopoly,
this is how it's done in capitalism, by the way, as well.
No,
which, mind you,
there's competition.
Monopoly. Hold on, there's still a monopoly within capitalism, and it is still providing massive benefit, even now, because people, guess what, want the benefits of finding it out, and that's what you have to provide. You're not instead of focusing on let's just benefit the people who are trying to figure these things out, they can never figure it out. That's basically what you're doing here. So for an example, right? Airplanes. They have come a very, very far way from where they initially were. They had to be monopolized early on, very clearly, and they were. And then what you saw was very simple, is that these companies kept gathering together or were monopolized in certain states. Europe is a prime example of this. All airlines in Europe are state-owned. And what they do is they still innovate when it comes to those options. Meanwhile, as an example, the United States, with the whole airlines thing, has monopolies, or what the fuck is it? There's 3 main airlines in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, along with like a 4th, but that one died. Triopoly, I believe. Duopoly, so that'd be triopoly. And the quality has just gotten worse.
Jet2 Holiday.
Because people keep buying it over and over again. Meanwhile, in Europe, where it's state-owned, the quality has only gotten better and better. So that doesn't make any sense. Now, does it, under the system that you have already prescribed?
Matt, are you aware of how airplanes were prior to 1978?
They were quite loud.
No, as in the quality that you would enjoy and how efficient they were.
They were very fuel inefficient. What's your point?
Efficient as applying the most efficient resources towards different ends. Like, for example, prior to 1978.
I'm not an aviation expert.
No, this is aviation history. Prior to 1978, right? There was a lot more airline regulation, so you would consistently have these airplanes that are flying with very few passengers, which means that there's a lot of waste that's going on, right? But after the deregulation in 1978 in the United States, suddenly you have full airplanes. So.
And yet the quality of
that's just an example of a market mechanism allowing the most efficient use of resources.
Okay. The efficient use of a resource does not necessarily mean that resource is being properly acquired to the individual trying to use it. So for an example, within the United States, the airlines that you get onto are being, in fact, since the deregulation of them has been so dramatic and retarded. These airlines,
they're not entirely private.
They are. They are. So airlines are toying with the idea of having you stand while you go ahead and fly with them.
You do is why they do that. Like the reason why
do
is
they
to
do that?
save on
Because
costs.
people are so poor they have to.
No.
Now
If
hold
you
on.
if you listen to the interview, the reason why is because they wanted to save costs and lower prices, so that people who would be willing to go on them can pay less for a less comfortable experience, but they'll pay less money. Okay.
Meanwhile,
that's like saying,
for the same price in Europe, they are achieving a much higher quality of service.
I'm gonna have to ask you compared to what it would cost. What?
Here, we can do this.
Hey, Antony, would you call this?
Isn't our airline industry like extremely fucking regulated?
No, Antony, you've read economics in one lesson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the chapter on what is seen and what is not seen?
Yes.
And so, Max, are these airlines all public airlines?
In Europe, they are. In Germany, at least, they are all national.
Okay,
and I believe in Europe in general.
I'm assuming that these airlines operate at a loss.
Here.
How can I assist you, sir?
Here.
So do these airlines operate at a loss?
I wouldn't assume.
But the tendency for public institutions is to operate at a loss because they have no incentive to
here. I can check.
Operate efficiently.
I mean, even if they did,
so it's a situation of what is seen and what is not seen, right? So it's like how much is the taxpayer subsidizing that? That's the question that needs to be answered, right?
But don't you know it's heckin' free, man? It's heckin' free, you know.
Yeah, the difference between private companies and a nationalized system, right? Is if
nothing is free, things cost resources.
What?
The huge difference.
Free, you know.
I just want to make one quick statement, if you guys don't mind.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you guys. I was just gonna say, the huge difference between a nationalized industry and a privatized industry is if a privatized industry loses money and actually goes under, the people who have to take up the tab are the owners. Whereas if you're nationalizing the industry and it's making less money than what it costs to run the system, the people who have to pick up that tab are the taxpayers. So and the people who reap the benefit are the state. So what they do is they realize hold on, let me finish. Last statement. What the state does when they make a loss on these nationalized industries is they are reaping the benefits, right, while socializing the loss.
You're so embroiled in capitalism, you can't imagine a world without it.
Stupid.
No, what I said is that does not disprove what I just said.
It does. No, what you just said is.
How is it incorrect?
Without capitalism, there is no cost put onto the consumer that would consumer.
You think costs are just going to go away? How do you manage that?
The manage of cost becomes entirely different. In the system I propose, for an example, there wouldn't be any funny taxes. You know why? Because the money system is only to purchase things, not to procure things. You understand what that means?
No.
That doesn't that just get into the
state
issue?
No, it doesn't. The state just simply pays the individual digging the iron out of the ground instead of paying for the iron. Then that individual we use the same lad who got paid to dig the iron out of the ground goes to a place that refined the iron into a purchasable commodity and gets to purchase item, let's say in this instance, iron, with the money the state gave him. The state does not need to take money back because that money is only simply used to purchase an amenity.
What happens if What happens if a nationalized industry
how do you,
runs at a loss?
My only question is like, how does the state determine prices like on these?
We've already been through that.
No. How do they determine? I wasn't here, so how do they
It's based off
determine
of how much material the state has. So, for an example, the iron. I'll just do a quick rundown. For an example, how much iron the state has would determine how much the iron would cost.
Doesn't that get into the calculation issue again?
No, because you can just
why not?
You can just simply go on about if these individuals are buying a lot of iron pans, then the price of that item will obviously rise.
Do you know by how much, and if there's a shortage of, say, the pans, do you know if you need to increase the prices or do you need to increase production?
Well, you would need to do both.
But by how much? Like how could you possibly know that?
I mean, this goes into several things. It depends on how many of these pans are being procured and so on and so forth. This is a massively complicated question, and the price itself cannot be answered.
It's very complicated.
The entire system, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, this is economics. The price itself, I'll say this, as stated previously, cannot be answered specifically for one item. You can only give a base starting price because you don't have the entire system. This is the same thing with capitalism.
So would you do it by trial and error?
No, the price wouldn't be found by trial and error. So you would base it in the start of this whole thing, which would be the most tenuous time or strenuous time, as on all systems. Hypothetically, let's just say this pan costs $10, and then there would obviously be a point of fluctuation, and then it would steady out. That's how it would obviously function. It's how all systems work. It's how capitalism works. Pretty much after capitalism was put into place, immediately there was a massive boom and then crash in tulips.
Well rested, sir.
And that kind of killed the entire economy.
So, just so I can understand the system, the state would own the production to the iron and would pay the worker to produce the iron, and then the worker would just purchase it if they wanted it separate.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the worker that is in this instance mining, this miner is paid by the state to mine, and then that money, all right, which is again, mind you, separate than other things, would be used to go purchase an amenity. Okay, in this instance, refined material that he had mined.
Dude, you ain't on that nigga chain technology.
This guy gets it.
Refrain from using that word in the future, please.
What if I'm black?
He's streaming, that's
that makes it okay. That makes it okay.
That's okay.
That makes it okay. That makes it okay.
Whatever streaming site he's on, it doesn't have fucking racial equality law. Wow.
No, but let's try to avoid it. I know how I don't want to be
Yeah, exactly. You guys support.
Conquered a lot of stuff, bro.
You're not a Spaniard. You're a Hispanic. That's completely different.
Fucking.
Well. Let's be honest. It depends on the admixture, because there's a difference between a mestizo or a mulatto versus a white.
I don't even know, bro.
Well, a mulatto is a half breed.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly. But that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between them.
Dude, can I ask you why Ancestry.com likes to lie and call everyone 2% black? I mean, that's pretty fucked up. That's like fucking.
They do that.
Is that true?
It's partially true. It's partially true. What he said is kind of accurate. It's weird.
Wait, what's your paternal haplogroup?
Exact stuff.
Do you know your paternal haplogroup?
Not a fucking clue. I've never done an ancestry test.
How many Twitch muscle fibers do you have?
Yeah, this guy gets it.
Dude, I decapitated. Wait, hold on. Can you guys explain this to me? So I decapitated a bird yesterday, and there's a bunch of wires coming out. Like, I think we're in the simulation, dude.
No, but all seriousness, Maxon, I think that you would like Hoppa. I think you should read Hoppa.
Dude,
World Health Organization's thing?
No. I think King is talking about Hoppa's Democracy, the God That Failed.
Or Hans Hermann, or any of his books. Yeah, Hans, but that's definitely a good starter book. Yeah.
Like there's several things going on here. Either way,
dude, can we all admit Hitler was right?
No, he was wrong. Hell no, man.
Wink,
but
wink.
anyways,
I mean,
I'm gonna head out of here,
everyone's right
guys,
on
because I'm
some
getting tired.
aspects,
So
like, come on now. I mean, he
hope you
was
guys have a
vegan.
beautiful night. I'm getting
Like, he didn't want to he wouldn't want to cause animals suffering. I think that's pretty noble.
Well, I'm Slavic, so I wouldn't exactly be his.
Well, you're
favorite
not.
type.
You're lesser than animals, so like.
Well, wait.
Spaniards are better.
Europeans are defined by step admixture. Yet, like Slavic people have like some of the highest step admixture in Europe.
Not Indo-Aryans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I was fucking.
Yeah,
with you.
I can get it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Indo-Aryans, no. Like, you Slavs came in way later.
Yeah, Slavs come from the Indo-European, migration.
No. Slavs actually come Slavs come from like towards China, not the Caucasus.
But no, literally we have RNA haplogroup.
So we actually.
All right, guys, I'm heading out. Have a good night, guys. It was fun talking to you.
Dude, I think Genghis Khan
this is actually really interesting. The Mongols.
All right, guys, I'm getting tired, so